Hello everyone, welcome. This is Pastor Roland checking in to see how you're doing. Hope you're doing better. Today I would like to just talk about a couple of very basic things. First of all, why meditation? Why do I emphasize the meditation so much? Well, the reason is that people get caught up in things, involved in things, distracted by things, pulled into things. Have you ever gotten pulled into a conversation and you find it hard to get out of it? Or how about a no-win argument? Have you ever gotten pulled into an argument? You didn't want to get into an argument. They somehow pulled you in. See? You got pulled into an argument, even at home with your spouse maybe. Some people are good at knowing how to do that because they know that you are at a disadvantage when you get pulled into an argument. You lose your poise. You lose the ground from which you could have handled the situation perfectly. You lose your ground of good, and then you're no longer. Now you're playing the other man's game. See, so it's very important to remain centered, poised, calm, reasonable, rational. You can see that when it comes to an argument. You can see how, for example, let's say, so what's the old expression? They say, take a step back. If you find yourself getting pulled into something, take a mental step back. Take a step back, get the big picture. See, take a mental step back. So you know that, right? Or let's say you're at work. At work, we're better at applying some of these important principles. We're better at applying them at work than we are at home. At work, we tend to be more objective, more clinical about, more about things. But at home, we get what? Emotional, resentful. See? So you can see why it's important not to become emotional and not to become resentful. If you don't become emotional and resentful, then you can handle things better like you do at work. So let's say you're at work and an employee, one of your subordinates, comes to you with an issue. So how do you approach it? Well, you maintain an attitude of friendly neutrality. You hear what the employee has to say. You hear them out, okay? And you don't rush to judgment. But that's what we do at home. We rush to judgment. When your child does something wrong, you say, I knew he was going to do that. He always does that, when your spouse. See what I mean? Or let's say you're at work and you're a manager, and then you see two employees that are having a disagreement about something. Do you jump into the disagreement and get involved in the disagreement? No. You're more like a referee. You're not a participant. You're not participating in the disagreement. You're not a spectator just standing back and watching, but you are like a referee. So you try to get some reason into the discussion and find out what's happening and look for solutions. That's it. You're solution oriented. Okay. Now, you understand. See, I made the example of talking about an argument. That we don't want to get pulled into an argument. We want to take a step back. So now, if you could have that same approach to everything in life, at home, everywhere, when you talk to people, when you do things. See, here's another example. This is an old example. I've given it so many times. But let's say you're on the bus riding to work, or the streetcar, or the train on your way to work. Let's say it's real busy. You're on a crowded bus, going to work on a crowded bus. And you're standing there on the bus. And so what are you doing? Well, maybe you're holding on with one hand, holding on like so. And then with the other hand, you're maybe texting, okay, checking your emails, for example. Or you might have a newspaper. You fold it up in a certain way, or a magazine, and then you read the newspaper while you're standing there on the bus on your way to work. Okay? But now if you get deeply into your texting, deeply into it, or deeply into your newspaper article, then you're kind of not there, you're not aware. And that's when a pickpocket can come along and pick your pocket or take something out of your purse, see, because of your unawareness. So you always want to hang on to some awareness. You don't want to get deeply into anything, see, because then you become unaware. When you're driving your car, you don't want to get lost in daydreams. See, you want to keep scanning. When you catch yourself in a daydream, you snap out, and then you start checking your mirrors, okay, and scanning, and you're back in the moment again. You're back because you want your awareness. A person lost in a daydream, thinking about the past or what they're going to do in the future or what happened yesterday, they can get so lost in their daydream that they drive right past the exit. Okay. So now you got the idea. You want to take a mental step back and always have awareness. Okay? So you're not too deeply into anything. So you understand it clearly when we're talking about the argument, the example I gave. You don't want to get pulled into an argument. Well, now just you apply that same principle to everything in life. You don't want to get too deeply involved in the newspaper, too deeply into a television program, or too deeply into music, or too deeply into some conversation, or too involved in some ball game. You know, you see some parents, for example, well, not necessarily parents, it could be anyone. They get so excited at the ball game, you know, rooting for their team and yelling and screaming, they get all carried away. They get so carried away that, I don't know, they could trip and fall down, or they hurt their throat by yelling too much, or they say things that they wish they hadn't said, or you see what I mean? It's just not good. So you want to be able to enjoy the ball game, but without getting too deeply into it, too emotional. Okay? So as you go through life, see, if you go through life with a light touch, okay, always having a little bit of awareness, you know, like a good parent. Here's a good example. You'll understand this. Let's say you're the parent or the grandparent and you're watching the little children play. 2 or 3 of them are playing. Okay? And you let them play and you let them have fun and enjoy their playing. Okay? But you maintain your awareness. You're watching to make sure that they don't get hurt. You're watching to make sure that nothing bad happens. And you're also watching to make sure that there's no bad people that are coming along, or some wild dog coming along. You see what I mean? Or some other children that are not good that could come and push your child down or something. So you always maintain that awareness, that vigilance, that watchfulness. See? Vigilance. Vigilance, watchfulness. See? Awareness. Okay? See how important that is? If you could maintain that in everything you do, then you would never say things that you regret having to say. You wouldn't get pickpocketed. Okay? You wouldn't get pulled into arguments. See, people get pulled. Here's another example of where people get pulled in when they go into a grocery store. Okay, you go into the grocery store and you get caught up in the things that are there. They pull you in, and before you know it, you're buying things that you don't need. Then later you said, "What did I buy that for?" See how that works? All right, so now you understand. Or how about, here's another example. There's a bag of something that you like, some kind of an indulgence, like a bag of potato chips, say a big bag of potato chips, or a box of chocolate, something like that. So there it is. Okay. Then let's say you eat one, and then you eat another one, and then you start daydreaming a little bit. Okay. Or you're checking your emails, or you're listening to music, or you're watching TV, and you begin to eat one and then another, another, and another. You get caught up in it, you get lost in it. And before you know it, you've eaten the whole bag of chips or too many chocolates. You see what I mean? So there again, that sentry level awareness, that vigilance, that taking a step back, even taking a step back from the chocolates or from the chips. See, now it's hard to do. Eating is hypnotic. I wrote a whole book about the subject of food. It's a very good book. Not a lot of people get it. They should. It's very good. A lot of people have food issues. They should get that book. It's called Forbidden Food: The Legacy of Paradise Lost and the Promise of Redemption. It's on Amazon. But now you understand. Okay, so now the meditation. So in a nutshell, the meditation teaches you, shows you how to begin to get that vigilance, that awareness, okay, that consciousness where you're a step back. You could call it mindfulness if you like. So you take a step back, see, and then you go out in the world, okay, and you are in the world but not of the world. That's what Christ said. You're in the world but not of the world. So you go about your activities and you eat and you do things and you talk to your friends and you do everything, work, everything, but just not so deeply involved in anything. And with the help of the meditation, if you practice the meditation like 5 minutes, first thing in the morning, then you go out in the world, you'll have that meditative state of mind, see, which is a bit distant. See, that's what you had when you were a little child, before you became upset and became emotional, got upset. You had that state of mind. So you do it 5 minutes in the morning, and it teaches you how to be objective, how to go out, how to have that step back. See, and then maybe you can practice it 5 minutes at noon, maybe 5 minutes in the evening, and during the day at odd times you can, practice it for a minute or two. And what it will do is it will maintain that meditative, that step back. So you're more aware. So it's that simple. So is that good or what? That's good. That's what you need. That's why, see, you're too emotional. You get upset too easily. That proves that you're getting too caught up in things too much. Or if you do things and later you say, what did I do that for? That's proof that you're caught up in things too much. So you really ought to get the meditation. And the nice part about it is I've made a version of the meditation free. Okay? And you can learn it in 5 minutes. My name is Pastor Roland.